How are you? Who is here with me? I'd love to know. If you have the ability to chat with me, please chat with me. If you're on your iPad or computer, sometimes you may need to get a phone to chat with me to let me know you're here. Michael, good morning. So here we are. First class of 2021. Well, on Saturday anyway. Did we really make it out of 2020? Hi, Peg. Nice to have you here. Martha, good morning. Lynn and Dave, good morning. Lauren, good morning. I'm surprised to see the boys here because today is a big football day. So it's never happened before to have 3 games on this day. And it's because of all of the shenanigans that went on last year and all the things we had to move in order to not have games certain days. So my husband informed me today that it's never happened before. So most of the men are really looking forward to just lying on the couch and just taking it all in. And my husband's a big Seahawks fan, so that'll be on today later, I believe. So anyway, how are you all doing? I'd love to hear from you on anything in particular that's bothering you. And I'd like to give a couple more minutes for people to get on as well, because, here we are, and maybe some of you haven't practiced for a while. So getting back on to our schedule is really important for us. So before I go any farther, I just want to say there's some things I'm recommending that you watch that are enjoyable shows. My Octopus Teacher is a really beautiful, like image-wise, it's a lot of beautiful imagery. My Octopus Teacher, I didn't think I was going to like it. People are like, oh, you got to see this. Anyway, it was really lovely. So that's something. Lauren, good morning. And if Rick's with you, good morning to Rick as well. So I'm really happy to get back, and I had so much going on over the holidays that I didn't get to practice full-blown practice often. I do micro movements throughout my day always. And coming back this week on Tuesday, I taught osteoporosis, which is my strongest class that I teach. And I was a little sore in my hip on Tuesday. So I do want to say that here before I begin, is that I will guide you, and there is a focus for today's class. I will guide you, and it's really important that you develop within your own self the teacher to listen to. You allow your body to be the guide on what's appropriate and not appropriate movements for yourself. So that's really important. Let me see. Carolyn, good morning. So yes. So that's to just go a little bit farther and to extend what I was just saying. The whole concept of developing that inner body awareness so that you can determine what's appropriate and not, I cannot stress that enough. Because especially for those of us that have issues in our body or issues or injuries, coming to a practice of yoga and actually doing some of this stretching, especially the stretching, I'm going to say that in particular, because in yoga, unlike many other practices, we do stretch joints, or we stretch the joints, we stretch the tissues that support the joints. And that's part of what we're trying to do, because the protective aspects of the body is to bring chemicals or minerals and other items to an area for protection. When we have a torn muscle, it gets knots in it. There's scar tissue that develops when you have a surgery. So that scar tissue is protective tissue. And it's the minerals in the body going to the area to be protective of whatever it is you have. And think about it, if it is made out of minerals, calcium and all that, that's also what rocks are made out of, and bones and teeth. So it is a harder substance. So when we do the asana, the physical practice of yoga, one of the aspects is to be moving our tissue. So for those of us that have issues in our tissues, have injuries or ailments, or maybe are more dehydrated, so whether you know that you are or not, that is something that happens with aging. There is more of a dehydration aspect to an aging body. unless of course we're very cognizant, we eat wet foods, we take care of that aspect. And so if you're trying to stretch tissue, that's not quite as moist as it needs to be. So it's so important that you become your best teacher and that you listen to your body, because this is a healing practice today, and my guiding you is for the pure intention of healing and creating space and range of motion and mobility in your body, in your joints, in your tissues. So go at your own pace, be inside your body when we're doing something. If you have the TV on or something, which I don't think any of you do, but make sure that you turn off the TV of your mind, the thoughts of what's going to happen after we finish practicing or what happened before we were practicing. So be very present and in your body, grounding your mental energy, taking an elevator from up here to down here so you could stay safe. That is what's very important to me. Okay, today for stress management, lots of stress has been happening lately for many of us. So I'd like to do a little bit before we even go onto our bodies on the floor. I'd like you to come into a seated position. This is the one that I'd love you to work towards if you have the ability. So if your knees will still bend for you and your hips, coming into what's called Hero's Pose, Vajrasana, Thunderbolt Pose. You could support your body with a block. So if you do have a block, you could put one on top of the other or put it on its edge. If you do have one, you put it between your ankle joint. This is nice to keep the body nice and erect. If you have knee issues, you could try a couple of blocks. You could take a blanket, put a blanket either where your heels and tushy meet or closer to the knee joint to be supportive of the knee joint. So it could be pillows. So if you can, so don't force the issue. There's a fine line between what you should and shouldn't do, and you need to develop that within yourself. If you cannot sit like that, then sit in Sukhasana, easy seat, either elevated on the blanket or not. Whatever it is, come into a seated position so you can have an erect spine. You can allow your lungs to move in all their ranges of motion, and you can find this alignment in your body. So whatever it is you're going to choose, please find it. If you're pretty close to bending your knees and there's a slight tightness, I did ask Dr. Fishman about this because knee flexion, being able to bend your knees, is a huge issue that happens for many. If you're experiencing tightness right over the kneecap, that could be from the quadriceps, all four muscles. They end up becoming tendinous here and they go over the kneecap and attach to the lower leg bones. So that's the end part of your quadriceps. Be careful if that's where you feel this. So if it is in the knee joint and in that part, be careful. That's tissue more prone to injury and harder to recover from if you get it. If you're experiencing the tightness of bending your knees here in the belly of the muscles, in the center of the muscles, then this is something we could work on and not be as worried. But really this part here, I want you to be careful if you're experiencing that there. So find whatever's appropriate for you. And yes, it matters. The position of the body matters. Because when you're in an upright position, you allow your lungs to expand forward and back, side to side, up and down. So we take any obstruction away from the flowing aspect of our lungs. And the breath in yoga is probably the most valuable thing we'll do. All the other stuff is icing and gravy or whatever, but really the true core is this here, the breath. So bring yourself to something that you can bring yourself to. And now that you've got yourself here physically, I want you to arrive mentally. So this morning is gone, never ever to repeat itself. And think of that when something's particularly challenging in your life. Never, ever, ever will that situation, that moment ever return. Gone. Later today, gone, not even here. Football games, all that, not even real yet. What is real is here. So bring yourself to this present moment and close your eyes if you can. If closing your eyes is uncomfortable, minimize your gaze. You could look forward about 6 feet in front of you, not focusing on anything in particular, softening the gaze, minimizing the information that is being consumed by your eyes. So close your eyes if you can, then take your hands palm side down on your thighs. We're going to arrive to this moment, setting this intention right now to bring all the horses back to the gate, to the starting line. So just like in a horse race, the minute the gun goes off or whatever it is and says they're off. That's what's happening to us all day long. Our emotions are the horses that are galloping wildly throughout our body, throughout our tissues. And all the reactions that happen from that response sit in the tissues, remain in the tissues. The biochemical action of the horse's running still sits in our tissues. So with the eyes closed, I'd like you to take your hands out to the side. And on the inhale, I'd like you to reach up with your hands towards the sky. If the shoulders don't like to bend or lift much, only go halfway. Be in your body to let your shoulders tell you what's an appropriate range of motion. Exhale to bring your hands down, and then one more inhale. And then bring yourself down. Bring your hands onto your thighs again. I want you to go inside your body into somatic awareness. And I want you to see if you know where stress is hiding in your body, where you hold your stress. Where does that reactivity, where do the horses go when they start to run? When you watch or hear something that stimulates you. Notice if you feel a tightness in the chest, if you feel a heat around the heart. Notice if you feel it where your legs attach to your body, or do you experience it in your low back? Do you experience it in your belly, which becomes digestive issues? Do you experience it in your head, which becomes headaches? And just notice in your body where you may be storing that tension, that stress. Notice if you can detect it. And then I'd like you to take your hands out to the side and imagine if there was a beautiful aroma around you and you wanted to bring it towards you, you would take your hands and you would move the air towards your body. So move the air of this beauty towards you. And then start to be grasping. So I want your hands to open and close like you're grabbing. And I want you to grab around you the tension, not labeling it, not thinking about what it is, but just imagining that around you is oppressive a force of tension. And grab it from down low, grab it from the sides, and grab it behind you. And then grab it from overhead. So all that tension that exists in our lives, it's around us, grab it, and then hold it really close to you. Make a fist so you start to shake. Feel the shaking as you hold that tension. And then I want you to open your hands and whoosh, release it. Let's open our eyes, and let's do that with open eyes. I want you to grab from around you. The tension doesn't have to be labeled, doesn't have to be known. Grab. Grab it from yesterday. Grab it from tomorrow. Grab it from where it doesn't even matter anymore. Grab it from where it controls you and pulls you down. Hold it. Hold all of that tension and all of whatever has happened, and then whoosh. And then just notice what you notice. Notice if your heart's racing. Notice how you feel. Notice if there's a lightness and a release or anything that came in your body. And then for some of you, maybe there's so much somatic sensation. Maybe the knees are starting to bother you, or the hips are bothering you. Or I didn't even mention, I totally forgot about the tops of the feet for some people. That's an issue with this as well. So just noticing what you notice. The more you can be here in this present moment, you are managing your stress. Same present moment, the horses don't have an opportunity to leave the starting gate. And that is where the healing can come in, is when we're in that present moment. So for today's practice, I'd like you to have a strap and a block or something that can be used like a block. I'd like to begin today's practice with a blanket. For those of you that have props at home, if you have a bolster, this could be the bolster. We're going to do a supported fish pose or a supported chest expansion, opening up the front of our body, stretching our abdominal area. So you're going to take the blanket, and I'd like you, if you have a regular yoga blanket, open it up like this so that it's pretty long, or a towel or something. And the reason why I said regular yoga blanket or to get you to look at this is because when you do come into this bent position, this folded position, I don't want it to be too high. So if you did roll it up into a ball, that would be much higher. You'd have to have a pretty strong practice or a pretty open body for that. So for those that do have a pretty open body, you could fold this a little bit bigger. If you fold it too high, you're definitely going to need some support at your head. So in order to just have it here, let's come on to our bottoms for a second. Take your hands behind and walk your feet a little closer. so that we begin to do a little balance here, balancing on our sits bones. And let your body rock back and forth. So you feel yourself rocking across it's like they're shaped like rocking chair legs, actually. The base of the pelvic bones are curved. So I want you to rock back and forth. And then I'd like you to come into what's called Navasana boat pose. So this is a pose of strength. Lift your heart forward. You could hold on to the sides, take your elbows out to the side. Remember to bring that inner teacher inside your body right now to know what's appropriate for you or not. Maybe taking arms off is appropriate because you've maintained your practice or you have a pretty decent core strength. Or maybe for you, and then also the quads here as well, the hip flexors have to work to hold the legs up. Lead with your heart, so make sure you're not collapsing in your upper body. Lead with your heart, have your spine be in its neutral curves, and then let's come forward. Just a little bit to bring your awareness totally to the somatic, getting a little heat to go into the body. So when we come down onto the ground, we're going to support ourselves in a back bend, having the prop, whatever you're using, across the heart area in the body. So if you have bone density issues, because I know a lot of people come to me that have bone density issues, you want to reach to the side. And I guess all of us could do this too. Reach to the side to come down so that when you do come down, the blanket is underneath the heart. This is the least flexible part of our spine. Begin with bent knees. And then take your head and lengthen your head up and back away from you so that you have a really nice and long neck. Bring your awareness to your neck right now and make sure the back of your neck is nice and long. The chin is either pointing directly up towards the sky or slightly down towards your heart, which will add that nice lengthening in the back. And the knees are bent here. So you may experience already some kind of tension from this stretch. Take your arms out to the side. This is a supported back bend. Now, if you feel a super intense stretch here in the front or the neck doesn't like this, for some of you, you may need an elevation of your head. So you may want to use another blanket behind the head. Where I would like you to experience some sensation is right where the arms attach to the body. So right near the chest muscles, the shoulder muscles. Be careful how high up you bring your arms. You have to determine what's appropriate for you. We're beginning to stretch our body really deeply at the level of the joints, the shoulder joint and the spine. So make sure that this is appropriate, and it should not feel super intense because I don't want you to be so much on the surface muscles, the superficial. I'd like you to be in the deep muscles. They're not that big. They stabilize our spine, connect the spine, connect the shoulder blades, the arm bone. And for many, upper back and neck tension and shoulder issues seems to be very prevalent these days, and prevalent because of our lifestyles, the way we hold ourselves posturally, and then the weight of the world and the issues that are going on outside or even inside your life that are having a tremendous effect on our physical body. So let's let all the horses come back to the starting line, which is in the brain. Once they get there, I'd like you to then explore with your awareness your body. So taking an elevator from upstairs in the brain to downstairs, which is the body, to the place of feeling and noticing and sensing. If you'd like to explore taking your legs to a straight position, make sure that feels appropriate for you. Notice where you feel this stretch in your body. Arms are to the side. If you take your legs a little wider, sometimes that could be a little more release. If the low back is experiencing a lot of tension, you may want to come back into a bent knee position. Let the tongue rest where the top teeth and the roof of the mouth meet. So take the tip of your tongue and don't press it hard in that area. Let it land gently, like skinny little butterfly legs landing on a flower. And then notice the back teeth are separated when you do this. This will soften your jaw, a main place where there is tension happening subconsciously in the body, that gripping of the jaw when there's tension in the body. So allow that to soften. Let your legs be wide. And then take your heels in the floor and feel like you're pulling yourself down if your legs are straight, so that you create a little more freedom, a little more stretch. And then with the arms, you raise them as high as you'd like to feel as much of a sensation as you can. And then gently lift your lower ribs away from the top of your pelvis and make sure that the low back feels okay when you do this. So don't go into extension. You're not lifting your low back away from the floor. You're pressing the low ribs towards the floor and then sliding them higher up towards your head. So you're adding a little length in that midsection. Closing your eyes, feeling what you feel and noticing your body, the sensations, how this feels. Let's bring the awareness all the way down to the left foot. Feel that left heel, the heaviness of the left heel in the floor. And if your knees are bent, feel the entire sole of the left foot in the floor. And then feel the sole of your foot, left foot. Notice sensations, whatever you notice. Bringing your awareness up to the left lower leg, the front and the back, and the left knee joint. Notice if you feel or notice any sensations deep inside your body. The left upper leg, the left hip, and then your entire left leg. Let your entire left leg go. Feel the heaviness of the left leg pressing towards the floor. And then bring your awareness over to your right side, the right foot, the heel or the sole. Feel the heaviness and the pressure as you yield and let go of holding. You allow the muscles that hold you up, release. Feel the heaviness of that heel or sole. Bringing your awareness to the right lower leg, the front of the leg, the top of the right lower leg, the shin, the calf, as if you were looking at it, scanning it up and down with your eyes. Bringing your awareness to your right knee, the right upper leg, and the hip joint. And then to that entire right leg, can you let it go? Let it be heavy, release that right leg. Bring your awareness up to your buttock area. Feel the pressure of the buttocks on the floor. And then begin to soften and release the weight of your pelvis, largest bony structure in the body. Allow it to be heavy towards the floor. And then feel the center of the back of the buttocks, your sacrum, the base of your spine. Feel that connection of the base of your spine being supported, the tailbone, the sacrum. Let it go, let it release. Bring your awareness over to your left hand, to the back of the hand. Notice if the fingers are curling in. Bring your awareness to the fingertips, the thumb, the pointer, the middle, the ring, and the pinky finger. Bring your awareness to the center of the left palm, and then to the entire left palm. To the left wrist, the left forearm, the back side of the forearm, the top, the left elbow, and the left upper arm bone, and the left shoulder. Allow your left arm to soften, to release, to be as heavy as possible. And feel the back of the arm and hand supported by whatever is supporting you. Bring your awareness over to the right hand, the back of the hand touching the ground. Noticing the fingers may have curled in at this point. It's part of the relaxation of the body. Bring your awareness to the entire right thumb, the right pointer finger, the middle finger, ring finger, pinky, where the fingers attach to the palm, the whole palm, and the whole hand. Bring your awareness to the right wrist, as if you were looking there with your eyes, visualizing. Bring your awareness to the right forearm, the back of the forearm, the top of the forearm, the right elbow, the right upper arm bone, the right shoulder, and let's release the weight of the right arm. Let the right arm be heavy. Feel the heaviness of the legs. Let them go. Feel the heaviness of the arms. Let them go. Where can you release a little more? Let them fall towards the floor. Bring your awareness to your low back. Take a couple of breaths here deep into the body. Let the belly press towards that low back and let it release the lower spine. Let the low spine release as you breathe in, as if the belly gently presses up against the back edge of the low back. Takes away pressure that's there, tension. If you'd like to visualize melting butter on top of gluten-free pancakes, or an ice cube on top of hot pavement. With your breath, allow a melting and a softening from one state to the other, from tension to fluidity. And then bring your awareness to the part of your body that is draped over the prop. Let it be heavy right now. Let it press towards that prop. Breathe forward and upward towards your heart, expanding your chest upward and outward. Breathe really deep so that you're able to feel a stretch deep within your chest when you do this. Breathe so big that you feel stretching everywhere, and you may even feel a repositioning of the spine, of the vertebra as the lungs expand, ribs that are attached move, lungs press backwards. Breathe in and backwards towards your prop. Arms are heavy, legs are heavy. Creating a deep internal spinal adjustment with breath. The breath chiropractor. Bring your awareness up to your neck, to the front of your neck. Swallow. To the right side of the neck, to the left side of the neck, nice and long. And then to the back of the neck. Find that length as you start from where the neck attaches to your torso. Follow the gaze all the way up, long, tall neck, to the base of the skull. And then feel the base of the skull, center of the head, heavy as you let go of your head. Let go of holding. Let it go. Bring your awareness to your lips. Feel the lips gently touch. Bring your awareness up to your facial muscles. To the right cheek, let it soften. Left cheek, let it soften. Let the teeth soften in the jaw. Let the jaw soften right by the ears. Let it be soft. Bring your awareness to your eyes and let the eyes soften so they sink a little deeper in the sockets. On your next few breaths, let your breath as it comes in the nostrils, as if it were eyeballs, go all the way down your body to notice, to discover any place where there's maybe a little tension or contraction that needs to be released. So let the awareness go all the way down to the toes on your inhale. And on your exhale, release. The next time you breathe into the fingertips, to the right fingertips, the left, all the way down to the fingertips. And then release. These next 3 breaths, inhale the word relaxation. Let it come in your nostrils, into your body, to every cell in your body. That word relaxation comes in. And on the exhale, the word tension, wherever it was hiding out in the body, leaves your body on the exhale. Inhale, relaxation. Exhale, tension. Inhale, relaxation. Exhale, tension. Before we begin to move, feel the back of the body, feel the heaviness as you've released all the holding, letting the floor, the props, the mat support every aspect of you. Feel that part where your flesh becomes whatever you're touching. The last part of you that becomes the first part of the mat. The last part of you that becomes the first part of the blanket. Bring your awareness to your fingers. Start to move them. Start to open the hands. Start to make a fist. Bend the wrists. Wiggle your toes. Move your feet. Point them towards the floor if the legs are straight. Heels away from you, toes, heels. Then slide one heel at a time. Take your arms up to the sky. Shake, shake, shake. Knees are bent, feet are flat. Take your arms up overhead if you're able to. Make sure you lengthen your neck here. Tuck your chin down towards your chest. The knees are bent. Notice if you feel tension anywhere between the low ribs and where the legs attach to your body. Just notice what you notice. Bring the arms either out to the side, unless you're experiencing a lot of sensations from the stretch of this position. You take your arms down alongside your body. We're going to bring ourselves onto our right side. Go slow here because we did a lot of spinal extension for quite a while. So even you may not realize that, but there's a lot of deep stretching in some little tiny muscles called multifidi that are shoestring-like muscles that interweave up and down throughout our spine. We're going to move ourselves safely up to a seated position. Open your hand on the floor. Try to lead with your shoulder. You could use the top leg like a piston. So the top leg can come in and move away from you. You bring the leg in and you can use that to help bring yourself up. And I'd like you to just notice where you're at emotionally, where you're at sensory-wise in your feelings, whether you feel relaxed, tired. Doing somatic awareness in that way that we did, focusing our attention to different parts of the body, it's a tremendous way to take the mental energy from upstairs, bringing it to downstairs, taking an elevator down into the body. And when we do that, we create psychosomatic harmonization. So the mind goes down to the body, harmonizes. And then what happens after a certain amount of time is we then somatically, psychically find that harmonization. And when we are in that place of harmony, of balance, that is where we heal, we repair, we restore. That is where there's nothing from the past, nothing from the future, and everything is present moment. That's where we heal ourselves. We heal our physical body, and then even deeper, we repatterned the patterned aspects of how we got to where we are today. So that may be a little deep of a concept, but you are here today because every single person in your lineage went through fight and flight responses all day long in their lives to get to where we are today, our ancestors that got us here. And so when we do the work that we just did, that slow work, what that does is that helps you become more responsive and less reactive. It helps you take a break so that the horses don't go out the gate the minute something happens. There's a pause for a response that you could bring in a deeper thinking process. So that's the real value of this practice of yoga. And yeah, we're going to stretch our muscles and get strong along the way as well. Okay, let's come on to all fours. Let's walk, or actually crawl around. Ever since I learned this in the fall, it's something that I've been sharing. So you can either go forward and back, and for those of you that have more issues in your body and limitation in your joints, this will be a safer place for you to be. For those of you that actually have more range of motion or used to have more and want more, if you go around in a circular pattern or a figure 8 pattern, you actually start to bring in turning into the joints. So you start to get more aspects of your joint. Because we are on our balls and sockets, we're on our shoulder joint, hip joint, which are balls in a socket. There's a lot of different range of motion of these joints. So this is a way to repattern, and we're going to learn from babies that babies actually, this is what they do. They crawl so that they can walk. So if we have dysfunctional patterning in our bodies, which a lot of us do, let's repattern, and we repattern from the way we began this whole process, crawling. It might sound silly, but it's really, really true. Okay, so we are going to go on to all fours. Now, strengthening the wrists is a really important aspect of fall prevention or injury prevention if you fall. So we are going to weight bear on our wrists. For some of you that have wrist issues, you may want to roll up the front of your mat, because this right here, the bend in your wrist, the more severe this angle is, the more tension is placed on that wrist. So if you can go from this angle to a little bit of a less degree of that angle, you can weight bear and get all the benefits of strengthening the arm bones, the wrist, the hands, the shoulders, the chest, and all of this stuff. So don't let this stop you from getting all of that. So make sure this is in a better position for you to also gain some of that. And again, your own teacher, you're your own teacher. You listen to the voice inside. Let's come on to all fours. Take your hands a little bit wider than your body, and the pointer fingers are forward. Let's move through flexion and extension, cat and cow. So you're going to come into, on the inhale, you're going to point your tailbone up to the wall behind you, and you're going to reach the crown of your head towards the wall away from you. This is extension. This is safe for all of us, or most of us. For spinal stenosis, this may be a no-no. So if that's you, that's where the counterindication would come from that. And some have been indicated not to, or to minimize or notice the extension. Now, when we come into the flexion position, the rounding of the spine, try to make it be a lot in the low back. And you can let the head dangle. If you have osteoporosis, though, you want to not let your head go down, and you want to not round the upper back. So if you don't have any bone density issues, you can come into that full flexion position and that full extension position. You inhale into your extension and you exhale here into your cat. And remember, if you have osteoporosis, keep your head high. Inhale, open your throat, pull your lower ribs away from the top of your pubic bone. So feel that stretch in the abdominal area and then feel that stretch in the low back. So if you make this very tailbone specific, imagine that your tailbone, you painted a paintbrush with fuchsia pink paint, and you're trying to paint a strip of paint up and down the back wall with the paintbrush. So let it be the pelvis that tilts, posterior, anterior tilt, to get a nice movement in that lumbar spine, stretching lower back, stretching lower abdominal area. And then bring yourself back. Let's walk ourselves up. Take your hands here. Let's stretch the wrists. Arms forward. You're going to bend your wrist. Keep that arm straight. Take the other hand high up on that hand and push the hand towards the body. So stretching the body here. Feel that. And then you're going to take your hand like this, like you're saying stop with your arm. And all I think about is it Donna Summer? Stop in the name of love. Which is good, right? Because then my stop is not negative. It's a positive thing. So bend your wrist here, pull your hands towards you. You know, my mom came to this country from Scotland to cut a record. She went into the studio and she cut a record. I come from a very musical family. Let's go to the other side. My uncle went down to England when he was 18 to perform. So I think music's always been a big part of my life. And I'm stimulated by songs when I think of words. So I like that. I think that that's a good thing, which is why I share that with you. So maybe we could all bring more song into our lives. And then the other. This can feel really great and create a lot of nice space in the wrist. And we were weight bearing on the wrist. So a lot of people try to steer clear of putting any tension in the wrist. And I would say to put the appropriate amount of tension is good. Okay, let's come here and we're going to do gate pose, a little lateral body stretch. So you're going to take your foot to the side. And the important thing here is the foot faces forward. So depending on how much tightness you have in the hip area or low back, I would like the leg to be alongside your body, but it's also going to depend on how much range of motion you have in your muscles to get there. Some of you, it may be a little bit more forward. What I would really like you to get, though, is to have this perpendicular aspect of your foot in relationship to the leg, because I really would like you to experience that stretch here on the lateral side of your foot, which is really important for balance. Those muscles along the side of our foot over our ankle joint are actually what helps to align the leg bones on top of the foot. So right at that ankle joint. So this is for balance and for proper gait, which is the starting line for everything else that happens in our alignment. You're going to take your hand onto your leg, the opposite hand, the palm goes away. You reach up and you find yourself here and lengthen. Now for those, and then you laterally flex, so we're bending our spine over towards that foot. For those of you that have shoulder issues, put your hand on top of your shoulder and the elbow that lifts up. See if that's appropriate. For those that actually can't even do that, it's this action here is about the spine. It's not about this arm. So if your arm doesn't want to lift at all because you have shoulder issues, that's okay. Laterally bend your spine, open up this side of your spine, compress this side of your spine, reach your hand down. So you're either going to be arm in the air reaching down, feel that beautiful stretch here, stretching low back muscles, core muscles, alignment muscles, taking sitting out of your body, and make sure you're not flexing your spine. So still imagine you have that blanket behind your spine, open your heart, gate pose. And then can you lift your arch off? So push your pinky toe edge into the floor. Feel that lateral chain stretch on here, lateral here, and then lateral here, side body stretching. Take a breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Notice what you notice there. Our intention in today's practice is stretching to release stored tension. Place your foot alongside your body and allow this to settle. Allow the hip to be okay with this action in the side of your hip. So you might notice some tension here. You might notice tension down by your ankle joint. Noticing what you notice, where you notice it. Weight bearing here on this leg, compressive force in this hip capsule, so strengthening the top of the femur bone, the acetabulum, that pelvis. So really great for strengthening bone density on this side for all of us, getting stronger bones and stronger muscles and soft tissue that supports that joint, and then stretching here. So may look like a simple pose and so much intention, so much healing potential in this. Hand along the side of the body, palms forward, and it's up to you here. When you out, I'd like you to have your arms stay close to the side of your body. So you determine and notice along the way, where do you start to feel that stretch? You reach up, you get nice and tall if you can, and then you laterally flex, bending over to the side. And if you have shoulder joint issues, you may be here. So just notice what you notice. Be okay with whatever it is. Put some tension into that pinky toe edge of that foot. Get nice and tall in your torso. Lengthen yourself out of the side, reaching the arm up, and then laterally flex over. Feel that beautiful stretch. Hopefully it's beautiful. Creating more space in your body for fluids to flow. So the lymphatic system only moves in the body through movement. We're stretching the vessels, and there's a lot of vessels for your immune system. Your lymphatic system is part of that. So this is good for immunity. People always wonder if false claims. No, they're not, because all the tissue here, you're moving fluids, and if you're going to move lymph, it's part of the detoxification pathways in the body. Bring yourself back up to center, and then bring yourself all the way out. Let's come into I used to call this half. I am going to do this because this is balance, flexibility, and strength, because today I was going to try to go a little slow since this is first day back for me. I think this will be okay for you all. So let's take the block. Let's take block, and we'll go to foot first. So bring your left foot in front of you first. Lunge, and then that. Take your left foot first. Take your right hand on the block, and then I want you to bring your body forward. So make sure that the knee and the ankle are in alignment, and notice where you are. So what I notice in class when I'm in with people or working with people privately is this. People stay up here. So you see how my body weight is directly over that leg that's on the ground? I'm not in that front foot. I'm on that back knee. I want you to let your body weight come forward. Your knee has to bend so that your weight, you feel a lot of weight in that front foot, and your hand is on that block. You're stretching that back psoas, that back leg. You're stretching the psoas, which is a sitting muscle. Then you're going to take this front arm onto your leg, lengthen your spine, and then rotate your spine over the direction of your leg. For some of you, you may be able to come down a little lower, or you may be able to be down on the ground, or you may even want to deepen your twist, coming into your twist like this. So feel in your body how much pull or sensation you're feeling in your muscles. Notice what's appropriate. There's something happening in every level. So choose what is the appropriate level for you, coming into a deep twist. Lengthen your spine and then rotate it over. And lift your heart. Make sure that you're not collapsing in your body. Hold yourself up. Stay here, inhale, and then you're going to exhale, bring yourself up. Let's do the other side. So bring the right foot forward. Bring the block onto the floor. If balance is an issue, you could take your feet a little wider. Right now the weight is on the back leg. You're going to bring the weight forward so it goes onto that front foot. Take your hand onto the block and then lengthen your spine. Make sure you're not collapsing your spine. So find that length in your spine. At least 600 to 800 muscles in the body. Work many of them, stretch many of them. Put yourself into a place of tension. We're actually creating stress in the body when we do this asana, but you want to create the right amount of stress. That's called actually hormesis, creating the appropriate amount of stress to the tissues in the body so they respond by getting stronger, getting longer, whatever it is we're asking from them. So you're going to rotate over in the other direction. Maybe you can come down a little bit here. Have your weight be forward in that forward foot. Press that forward foot into the floor. Or you can come into that twisting position, nice and long in your body here. Feel what you feel. Create tension and the appropriate stress in your body as you pull your tissue. Lengthen your spine, get nice and tall. Wherever you are, get nice and tall in your spine. Create space between each vertebra. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself back up. Take your block away. So if you're able to clasp your hands behind your body, clasp your hands behind your body. If you're not able to clasp them, can you either hold on to wrists or can you hold on to your elbows? So either you clasp your hands behind you or you hold on to your wrists or your elbows. It's called chest expansion. So it's similar to the way we began today with the blanket underneath the heart. You're going to push your hands down and back as you lift your heart up. Let your shoulder blades slide towards each other. Let them press towards your heart. Let them lift up towards the sky. And then see what feels appropriate here. For those of you with shoulder issues, there's a lot of stretch here on the chest muscles and shoulder muscles. So be inside your body to feel where is the appropriate place for you to go with this. Chest expansion. It's a great position to be in a few times a day. So find this in your body a few times a day, especially if you're sitting down a lot. Or take one more breath. When I began class today, I asked you to notice in your body where stress shows up the most for you and where it has the biggest effect. So whether that was for some of you, that might be at the heart, that might be a tightening or compressive feeling in the upper chest area, heart area. So when there is stress in our lives, coming into a chest expansion, opening up your chest can be a counter position in the body for relieving some of that tension or that stress that we're experiencing. So whether you find yourself in a supported pose on the floor with props underneath your heart, or you come into a chest expansion throughout your day, that's a nice thing to do. So while we're here, can we come up onto our toes? And I know not everybody can. Come up onto your toes, a little balance action. So this is what it looks like from the front. I'm just balancing on my feet. And if you're here, I'd like you to feel all the toes. Feel yourself balancing. And then we're going to move this into a squat. So for those that can, and actually what's really nice here with the squat is this. Take your blanket and bring your blanket into a folded position, and then take the heels pretty wide here with your stance. Those whose knees don't like to bend, that won't be a possibility. So for those that can bend into this, you can try this, keeping the adductors, the inner thighs, keeping space in the hip joint. So for those that are close to things, you can maybe work towards getting there. And then for some of you, it may not be something that'll ever come back into your life, and that's okay. So being okay, accepting what movements are okay to not work towards, and then go ahead and come out. I don't think that we should push ourselves, and I do think that there's certain ranges of motion in the body that are important to be mobile and healthy and happy as we age. And that knee flexion is one that can become very limiting for a lot of people. And so you want to be careful on how much you work on that if that's an area that you have issues. So we're going to come down onto the ground. So I'd like you to have your block and your strap handy, please. A strap would be good because I'd like to take some tension out of the lower leg area. So let's come down onto our back, and remember, if you do have the bone density issues, keep your back safe by not rounding it whenever you remember. And because I teach, I don't have osteoporosis, but because I teach it so often, I'm so cognizant of flexing my spine that I always move pretty safely myself, or my awareness always goes to, wait, how are you moving? All right, so let's take our strap, place it on your belly, bring your left leg in, and let's unbend and bend the knee. Be thoughtful here. We're not just throwing our limbs around. We're not just unbending and throwing it up in the air. This upper leg, I'd like the bone to stay still. And the only movement here is the articulation of the knee joint. And then bring your leg into a flexed position, your foot into a flexed position. So when you unbend, the heel is reaching up towards the sky. Okay, and I'm only thinking about this now, but I remember working with someone that had a hammer toe where her second toe was really lifting up and she was having trouble with it. And the physical therapist that she was working with spoke to her about the importance of keeping the calves limber so it doesn't pull on the toes. And I'm going to say that keeping all of this lower body musculature limber is important for transmission of the nervous system, for balance, for tension and release. And then you're going to come into your last one. Let's take that left ankle and left upper leg bone across. So you're not on your foot. Actually, let's put the strap to the side. You're not on your foot. So if your foot is on your right thigh, can you push your left leg so it's the leg bone that's there? The knee is out to the side. For some of you, this may be enough to stretch the hip joint. This is stretching the left hip joint if the left leg is up. For some of you, this may be enough. For others, you're able to go a little deeper. So can you, with your core, try not to be like this reaching for the leg. Keep your upper body on the floor. Contract your core and begin to lift your right knee towards you so that you could reach underneath and take hold of that right upper thigh. Not all of you could do this, and it's okay if you can't. When I had my surgeries for my hips, this was something I could barely do. And the first level of having my foot on the floor and my leg across is all that I could do in the beginning until I slowly but surely worked towards having more flexibility in my hips. And then if you'd like, you could also come into this. They call it a figure four. And if you look at that from here, it looks like a small four, a lowercase 4. That's where they get that number. And you're pushing the knee away from you with the muscles of your legs. I am not a big fan of using your hands to push your leg away. I'm just not a fan of that. So you do what's appropriate for you. If you use the muscles to press away, we use the opposing muscles and it creates a little more relaxation in that leg. Then go ahead and put your hand on the floor. Let's take our arms out to the side. So I like the scarecrow arms, bent elbows. See if this is appropriate for you. It's a little bit of a deeper stretch. Let me see. So I want you to slowly, you're pushing the left knee away from you. Now, for those of you that are a little bit on the tight side, you may need a block here to come towards so that when you go over towards the right, keep space between the right waist and the right hips. Try to keep the left shoulder blade and the right shoulder blade on the floor and push the left knee away from you with the muscles inside your body. It's a pretty big, deep stretch of the left hip joint area. Then if you're feeling this in the low back, I want you to press your belly, contract your core, push your belly back towards your spine. So you're minimizing that extension, the lower lumbar. Or visualize drawing the top of your waist, your left waist, away from you. So see what feels appropriate. For some of you, the knee may be here. It is what it is. You are wherever you are. Let's take one more breath. And then take that left foot on top of that right leg. So hopefully you're able to get that. Hopefully you could see me in it. I know I'm wearing all dark colors. Take your hand on top of your ankle joint or lower leg bone. Right hand is holding the left ankle. Reach the left arm away from you and then push that left hip away from you. Now we're stretching some of those anterior muscles in that hip joint and the psoas, which is your sitting muscle. Reach left arm away from you. Reach left knee away from you. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself back to center, lay on the floor. Lift yourself up to reposition your body. Draw the right knee in. Let's stretch the right leg. So I was saying that there's at least 600 to 800 muscles, and we're not sure because if we call that a quadricep, it may be one muscle or it may be 4. So there's at least 600 muscles. That's a lot. So there's little muscles that we stretch with all this movement. And I'd like you to stretch your little guys more because these big muscles get all the attention. And we want to get to the stabilizing aspect of the body. Now bring your foot into that flex position. So it's the heel, center of the heel is reaching up towards the sky. You're going to feel that going into your calf. Maybe you feel it on your feet. Now I'm going to say that on this side, I don't feel it in my feet. But when I did this on the other side, I actually felt one of the muscles that went to my second and third toe, or actually third and fourth toe. And that could be because that's the side I had the hip replacement on. So who knows? But whatever, developing this real deep body awareness can be very protective and healing when you have that. All right, last one. Then you're going to bend the knee, let that right ankle rest on top of the left thigh. And let it be the ankle, not the foot. So notice if it is the side of your foot, and push your foot more towards the left. So you have the leg bone resting on top of the upper leg bone. Lower right leg bone, touching the upper left thigh. And then if you'd like to go a little deeper, using the core to draw the leg towards you, bringing the leg in the air, holding on behind, just whatever is appropriate for you. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. You're going to take your arms out to the side, and remember, you may need a block. So the leg is out to the side, and when you allow your body to go towards the left in this case, because the right leg is up, create space in your waist when you go. So let there be space here. Don't let this leg come too close to your body. So find, as you move towards the left, the space in your body. Moving slower is more thoughtful, more body aware, and I'm going to say more intelligent as we move our bag of bones around through different ranges of motion. I always say don't throw your bag of bones around. So throwing your bag of bones around would be without that awareness in the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons. Breathing down to your belly. Feel that nice stretch in your body. See if you could experience a real big stretch here in the waist, the right waist. Notice if you feel that in your hip. We're all going to feel it in different places because we have different areas where we have issues, tightness. And then if you add the breath and you breathe down to your lower ribs, you let the diaphragm move this lower part, you'll feel a deepening of the stretching, whatever you're stretching. Take one more breath. And then if you do have a block there, move that to the side. Take your right foot on top of the left inner thigh area, maybe by where that inner knee area is. And then take your left hand, hold on to that right ankle, and then push that right leg away from you with your muscles. Reach the right arm long, flex the wrist, reach that right side nice and long. Stretch your right side, feel all of that. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then let's go ahead and bring yourself out. Let's take the strap. Bring the right
foot in. Try to bring the knee in really deep. We've done a lot today that could increase the range of motion in the hip joint and the knee joint. So I'd like you to bring your foot as close as you could get to your body and even touch your toes. So let me say, for those of you that are pretty tight in your hamstrings or hip area, the more support you have under your head, the better. But don't support yourself so much that your chin is pressing into your chest. Only do as much as you need, but the higher the support, that may be supportive here. So take the strap, put the strap on the arch of the foot and then slightly towards the toes. Slide your hand down the strap and wrap your hand around. If you'd like to straighten the left leg, don't just throw it out there. Lift it up, lengthen it, flex the foot, lengthen the heel away from you as much as you can as you bring it to rest on the floor, and then straighten the right leg. So straighten it if you can. If you straighten it, it's going to pull on the origin at the pelvic area. So you have the potential to strengthen your pelvis here in terms of the bones. And then if the knee is bent, you're feeling it deeper in the belly of the muscle, you're stretching the belly. So it's all good, depending on what it is you want. Get your shoulder blades to come to the floor and draw your elbows towards the floor. And then let's firm up the muscles of the quads, so the upper thigh. Firm them up, make a really tight firming action, drawing the kneecap closer to your body. And then draw the leg towards the wall behind you. So just whatever you're experiencing here, try to release the tension. If you firm up the front of the thigh, you might get more relaxation and go a little deeper in the back of the thigh. And because this back muscle, the hamstring, is attached onto the pelvis, it can have an effect on our spine. So it has an effect on the low back. And so it's nice to keep this muscle limber so that you can have freedom in your back. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's bend that knee, take the strap off. Let's do the same thing with the other side. So draw the knee close to your body. Reach to touch your toes so that you still can. Cut your toenails, put your socks on, get yourself dressed. Always keeping that in your body. Always being able to wipe your own tissue. That's what I like to say. I want to keep all my activities of daily living so I could dress myself and take care of myself. And then you're going to thoughtfully, if you're going to straighten the right leg, lift it up, flex the heel, lengthen the heel away from you as you place it down onto the ground. Keeping that knee straight or knee bent, shoulder blades to the floor, elbows to the floor. Firm up the top left thigh as you draw the left thigh towards the back. So in my training, I was told by one of the physicians that the main reason why people are put into homes is because they can no longer sit down on the toilet, rotate their trunk, wipe their own tushy, and get back up. So when you lose your ability to take care of yourself in that sense, that's when a lot of people have to go into homes, he said. So let's always be able to wipe our tissues, please. Keeping that range of motion in our body. Draw the leg back, deep breaths here. Feel that tension that you're creating, that stress in the muscle behind the thigh. Firm up that left thigh, draw that left kneecap towards your body. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bend the knees, take the strap off. Bring that blood flow to the legs. We're going to do a little bridge pose here to end. Take your block between your knees, blanket away from the head, lengthen the back of the neck. Let's just do a little bridge pose for strength. I didn't do the plank pose today for that anterior body. Let's strengthen our back body to hold us up. So actually, for some of you, coming from an elevated block position, if you're pretty new or you know you don't want to go up, you're going a little more gentle today, you can put the block underneath you and either try to lift off it a little bit or not lift off at all. And then for the rest of you, going a little deeper, the block is between the thighs. Lengthen the back of the neck. Arms are down alongside your body. Grab your mat for a second. So reach underneath it with the fingers, thumbs are on top, and pull yourself into this position. So you slide the shoulder blades closer to the spine and you pull yourself down. So you pull on the mat. That actually puts your spine in a nice little position. Then the hands go down alongside your body. Lower back presses into the floor. Squeeze the block. Now squeeze your tushy. Squeeze your tushy. Let your low back start touching. So posterior tilt. Lengthen the back of the neck. Do not look side to side here. Squeeze the block. Lift your body away from the floor and move the knees away from you as you lift yourself into a bridge. Only go where it's appropriate for you. If you've been practicing for a while, you have a lot of strength, you could go to full expression, clasping underneath, sliding the shoulder blades towards each other, if that's where you're going to go, or you stay in whatever is the appropriate range of motion for you in your bridge. Squeezing the block, moving the knees away from you. Press the feet into the floor. Feel that power and that strength as you strengthen the back of your body to help support you and hold you up. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and slowly, one vertebra at a time, bring yourself down. Take the block off to the side. Bring the blanket back underneath your ears. Bring one knee at a time. Hold your knees into your chest. Arms are straight. Take an inhale. You're holding your kneecaps from above. Thumbs around the inside. Fingers pointing down to your ground. Holding onto your legs here. Inhale. As you exhale, draw the knees straight into the chest. Feel the low back flatten onto the floor. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to draw the knees in. One more time. Inhale to straighten. And then exhale to draw the knees in. Let's prepare for Shavasana. You're going to take your legs straight. If you'd like to put a bolster underneath your knees or chair underneath your knees, you could do that. Find whatever is the appropriate position for you. Let go, let go. Connect to your breath and stay here. Stay in this moment. Stay with your breath.
Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Hariam, Kariam, Niname, Kame, 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 Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Hariam, Kariam, Niname, Kame.
Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your ankles, your wrist, bringing movement into your body and your awareness to the places you're moving. Then when you're ready, bending one knee at a time and drawing one leg at a time in. Bring the knees in deeply so the low back presses into the floor, rocking side to side. And then rocking onto your right side. And from there, gently bringing yourself up to a seated position.
At the end of practice, we close, we acknowledge each other, whether we're in physical contact with each other or not, recognizing and honoring that we're all here energetically at the same time practicing the same practice. Bringing your hands together, rub your hands together, the thumbs touch the sternum bone. Find that length in your spine and sit up. Sit nice and tall, lengthen the back of the neck. Chin is down towards the chest. We're going to close today with the sound Om, blending the Ah, the O, and the bringing that sound from the low ribs to the mid ribs, or the low lungs, mid lungs, upper lungs. And from the back of the throat, center of the mouth, and as the lips close and you make the sound, allow that vibration to go all the way up to the crown of the head. Let's prepare. Exhale. Inhale. We bow to each other. Mutual respect, mutual acknowledgement in Namaste. Namaste. I hope you feel good. I hope your body and your mind feels good, since it is a body-mind practice. All right, so I know that some people arrived a little later. Nancy, I didn't see that you were here. I'm glad you're here. I thought about you though, Nancy. Even if you weren't here, I was thinking, oh no, if Nancy's here, her squat might be hard. I was thinking about Vi with the squatting. So I was thinking about you guys. I don't know if George is here. I haven't seen George. I wonder where he is. I got to email him. But I was thinking about the people that have that limitation in their joints. I'm like, oh, for Vi, this might be hard or this. But then I was thinking about the things when I was going to the side, I'm like, oh my God, Vi's so limber. She's probably all the way over there. So I do think about you guys, those of you that I've worked with before. Claudia, good morning. Sharon, great. You feel fabulous. Isn't that lovely? Shouldn't we all feel fabulous? Good, Michael. So good to be back, right? Yes, namaste and thank you. Great. Martha, hello, Martha. Good. I'm glad you guys feel good. And hopefully, yeah, you remember the horses. Oh, Claudia, that is such my thing. And you know what's really ironic in ancient yogic wisdom when they were training and trying to get people to understand, horses are at the core of the theme. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but we had a horse. We sold him. I got rid of him. We gave him away. We didn't. But anyway, my daughter had a horse. She used to ride horses, and it was so amazing for me to notice the reactivity aspect, to notice the nervous system in that reactivity place, because horses, their ears tell you what's going on, and they are prey animals. So they are always ready to bolt, to take off, to go. Where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger? And so I look at the horses and I see that in myself. Where's my reactivity? Am I reacting, or do I have the choice of response? Because reactivity takes place in our subconscious limbic, amygdala, primitive brain that got us to where we are. And then we as humans have the power of choice, the power to bring it to the higher reasoning part of our brain, the cortical part of our brain, from subconscious to conscious, and decide, oh, should I really be reacting like this? Oh, does this really affect me? Or whatever it is. So yes, horses, keep them at the start line up here. Don't let them take off and do all that stuff that they're doing. And if they do, gather them and then whoosh, release. All right. No squatting. I know, Nancy, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to squat. As long as you can still bend down, rotate, wipe yourself, and get back up from the toilet, that's all we need. The squatting is just for those of us that are going to go to India. And we pull over at the side of the road on the way to the temples, and we have a hole in the ground, and we need to do our business. You're welcome, Peg. Is it Peg or Peggy? Yeah, I was thinking of your knees, Vi, but I was also thinking about that flexibility and stuff. So I was thinking about all of that stuff. Joanne, oh, Saturday friends. Our Saturday friends are here. Great. Lynn, oh, and Dave. And I was thinking about you today, Dave, when I was talking about elevating the head up and make sure it's not too high and how it's better if you do that. So I'm so grateful that I had all the years of being with people in person and you guys in person, that those of you I know or have worked with in person or even privately on Zoom, because I'm able to notice what it is you have. And so when I guide the class, I think, okay, well, I'm going to do this. Michael can balance like this. Michael might be thinking, oh, this is like surfing, but I'm like, but I know Nancy can. I know Vi will want to, but she can't. Dave is going to be like, no way, Jose. So anyway, I think about you guys. And I teach accordingly to who shows up. That's why for those of you that have not worked with me or met me, if you tell me about your issues, I weave them into class. So anyway, yeah, it's funny, Sharon, but that's how it works. And you could be Sharon today, number one. Yes, Len. Yes, okay. So yeah, thank you. And Lauren, I don't know if Rick's here today, but I've never met him or seen him, but I know that he's a stud. Triathlete. So I think about his body and where does he maybe have scar tissue or whatever issues. So, and I don't know. So that's why I try to direct you all to where it's appropriate for you. And I know that because I've dealt with, and even here, when I'm here, I'm in my body, right side's tighter, left side does this, right side does that. My spine is doing this up here. So I'm in my body feeling and noticing as I direct you on what's going on with me so I can stay safe. All right. That's enough talking. Go enjoy football, Dave. Scott's going to be watching that. Hopefully the rest of you are, well. Anyway, what's the other show I was going to tell you guys about? The Last Kingdom. Oh,
Okay, well, the main character is delicious, but besides that young boy being so pretty, it's about the Danes. I think it's the beginning of England being its own. I think it's the beginning of where the Danes, the Vikings, were coming in all the time, and I think finally. So it's actually starts off in Northumberland, which is where my great grandparents are from. My dad's grandparents are from there. So I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, this is what my people went through. This is how my horses are in the state they're in. So anyway, yes, okay, bye. Let's have our day to do whatever. Thank you for practicing with me. I'll see you again. Bye. Happy New Year.